Wow.
Okay, and now we have to be serious because Giles is recording.
I pressed record button. Enfys, so lovely to see you again. It's been a while. How are you?
It's been a long time. How are you? I can't remember the last time I saw you. I think it was at a premiere.
I think it was at a premiere, yeah.
Let's say it was at a premiere.
Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds
right?
glamorous. Way better than some
Remember
garbage.
that really glamorous premiere that we were at? Remember that?
Remember that really glamorous, really expensive premiere we were personally invited to on to Clooney's boat? Yeah, not your boat, Clooney's.
For anyone that's missed it, Enfys is on a boat.
Hi, Dom.
Hi, Enfys.
Hi, Dom. Dom and I have got a little running joke with each other that we only speak to each other at Cannes and then don't speak to each other for the rest of the year. Although, no, that's kind of more your joke, isn't it? That I don't speak to you. You tried to speak to me.
I think after this year, I'm gonna flip things around because you're on our podcast, although technically you're on a boat, so you could be pretending you're in Cannes.
This could be anything, right? This could be Smoke and Mirrors, which is our business, right?
It makes it pirate radio, doesn't it? Like, that's the whole, really cool.
That's correct. Okay, so
if anyone's going to run a pirate radio, it's going to be Enfys.
So everyone knows Enfys is on a boat at the moment. It's a long boat somewhere. We don't know where.
It's not a long boat. Oh my God. People will think I'm some kind of like
Viking.
I thought you were a Viking when they were saying longboat. So that's a more complimentary one.
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm not used to going live. So
luckily we're not live.
Enfys is a walking HR bomb.
Which is brilliant for this podcast.
Yeah, we love that.
You know, I'm Scottish. We're born like inappropriate, you know? Stephen, by the way, we've not met, but I read all your stuff.
Oh, thank you. Well, lovely to meet you too, and thank you for helping us out with this one. Otherwise, I'd just be stuck with these two. And
dreadful.
I said to them that we need to improve the diversity, that we have far too many landlubbers. And if we don't get a pirate or a Viking soon, I'm going to complain.
And we got both.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm happy to be here. No, I don't have a Jolly Roger flag flying, but you have to be you have to be really careful. Actually, different flags on different boats mean lots of strange things. So
really. Okay.
So I learned the hard way.
But is it like having a red light on in the window? Is it a bit like that?
Well, certainly if she's displaying red flags, I might avoid her.
There'll be plenty of red flags to come, I'm sure, today.
I'm sure there will be.
Fire today. Wow.
Oh, this is us. We're literally, because we haven't done it for a while. I think we're excited.
Normally Dom's quite boring, but if you stick a camera in his face, he
whoa. I'm
found out.
Dom, take the compliment.
I'm
consistently funny. I'm considered. What did I say about sending the Zoom link? About Richard?
I love that he's finding his own joke here. He's like, no, I did say something funny.
I said I'm going to send the link later, but there's no Richard. And she's like, I don't understand. I'm like,
I'm not surprised, Dom.
I just feel that Dom can do better. So I think if I reward him too much, he'll stop trying. So I just
love
think
that
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah.
Dom, and also there's that statistic that the more you kind of like take the piss out of your friends, the closer, more bonded you become.
Yes.
So I'm doing you a favour. I'm really developing our friendship, Dom.
Yes. I was questioning this methodology in Cannes.
This sanity, but I like the fact that you're saying, Dom can be, boring.
Dull. Yeah.
I'm torn here. As to which way to go.
Come on, make a decision, Giles. Just one side or the other. Come on.
I find Dom hilarious. I don't know whether that's for the right reasons. But I will.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm open to persuasion. Just we'll get there.
Stephen, do you want to chime in?
No. I can't see any benefit in doing that.
All I'm going to say is when people get their picture taken with me, they're usually having a good time. So is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Is that a gun to the head?
Laughing. It's good. And I will say this actually, like as a Cannes deflection technique.
Please,
you're going into like a very like stern, cold, sort of meeting, or you're surprising someone with a meeting that's not necessarily expecting you. A bit of comedy honestly breaks that ice like straight away.
Yeah, but the comedy's got to be high end. I mean, you can't,
I use a different technique. I only go to meetings I'm welcoming. But, each to their own.
Each their own.
I'm often turning up uninvited, Stephen. So, this is...
The filmmakers, right? That's what we do.
Producer, you're pretty much not welcome in most places.
Exactly.
Because you're a serious person and you're there either for money or access or something that
who's the serious person here?
Yeah, like no one wants to hang out with you. Everyone wants to hang out with the stars, or no one wants to talk about spreadsheets. So no one wants you there.
No one wants to know about a return of investments apart from the investors, and that's when we're becoming.
They're not at the party.
They're never at the party.
They're in Malibu somewhere.
Sadly, they're at the better parties.
And I just say to anyone still listening, fast forward to about 12 minutes in, because that's when we'll probably start actually talking about
me.
We've already had some nuggets. We've talked about meetings. We've talked about investors. We've talked about being funny. Valuable advice.
And if we could beat any of those things or get any of those things, then you're winning. You're absolutely winning. Welcome, everyone. Hello and welcome to this week's episode, the Business of Film special of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk
filmmaking.
From indie film to studio films to high-end TV to documentaries and
everything in between.
How to get them made, did you forget? How to make them and how to try not to royally
F them up.
In our very, very humble opinion. I'm delighted to welcome not only a new guest to this Business of Film special, but also returning champion and returning hero. And we're all returning from Cannes. First of all, before I introduce you properly, you've obviously heard our dulcet tones because I'm keeping that in the intro. But I just want to say hello first to everyone. First of all, hello, Dom.
Hi, Giles.
How are you?
Pretty good, actually. Considering a week in the trenches, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, you look pretty good.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Yeah. And joining us again, as always, is Stephen Follows for these Business of Film specials. How are you, Stephen? Are you all right?
I'm at the other end of the spectrum, so I definitely got a Cannes cold. I have only just got my voice back, I think, this morning. We'll find out. So I'm exhausted and just trying to stay in a dark room and not talk to anybody.
And hide behind your microphone.
Yeah, exactly. Utterly failing by agreeing to chat with you guys today.
Utterly failing. Yeah, I had the Cannes voice as well, as everyone knows if they listened to last week's episode, which I hope you did, because it was with the amazing producer Ken Cow, who is Waypoint Entertainment's producer, works with Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Gosling. Cut that. Ryan Gosling on his
Don't cut that.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. And joining as a special guest today is Enfys Dickinson. Hello, welcome.
Don't cut the bit where he says I'm an idiot either.
It's me editing it, Dom. So
I'm appealing to your nighttime self.
And welcoming our special guest, Dom. Please let us speak. Hello.
Hello. Delighted to be on here and feeling optimistic about the whole process.
Well, there's the podcast process or life in general?
Oh, no, this, I'm excited. I mean, Dom's involved, so who knows what could happen, right? So
absolutely. That's so true. Let's run through some of your work so people know. You've been a producer for over 20 years, 250 productions involved with. You've cut your teeth working for Disney.
I actually stopped counting at 250 because I thought after that, it just sounds like you're a bit of a...
show off.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just thought it's somewhere around then.
It's probably for the best. But I'm going to list some of the credits and the films you've worked on because it's kind of showing off. And it's good when someone else does it for you, I agree. If you're doing it to yourself, which I'm going to do to myself.
Oh, no, she likes doing it herself as well.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong then and add to this. You've worked on High Fidelity, Chocolat, The Polar Express, still a wonderful film, 102 Dalmatians, not 101.
Fun. Yeah, they saved the day for 102.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you bring the extra Dalmatian? Were they like, oh no, we need to do a sequel, but
were you the Dalmatian?
I know what you're missing. I can bring it with me.
I know what this is, guys. If I bring this,
they must have been delighted to see you.
They must have been. Finally, we can make a sequel. Here's another Dalmatian. Then you went to Warner Brothers and you worked on films such as Harry Potter.
Yeah, I loved Harry Potter. What a dream that was. I mean,
what a dream.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I play football still with some of the gang who were in Harry Potter, the original kids. They're all grown up now. And some of them are really good footballers.
That's Giles hasn't. Cool. That is cool.
Yes. Alfie, for one, is a very good footballer. Batman Begins, you worked on that. You worked on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Ocean's 12, and then you pretty much left Warner Brothers to set up, which I believe is your production company, WonderLust Pictures, and you produce independent features, commercials, corporates, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I started off, well, it was a kind of like, I think when you've worked for big studios and then you leave and you think, well, this is just going to be easy because I'll just flash around the fact that I used to work for Warner Brothers. I'll go, hey, it's me, I used
it's
to
me.
off and we'll just carry on, right? And we'll just do this.
Yeah.
No, not at all. No, it doesn't work like that at all.
Right.
It was actually much harder than I expected it to be. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, I started off doing lots of commercials and working for advertising companies, documentaries, all the kind of usual stuff, which was great actually, because I'd had what we call like suit training. I'd been a suit in
dressing up.
For any of the listeners, Enfys is wearing a suit jacket.
He is as well. To be fair, you'll see it.
It's actually a tux. It's kind of like this kind of.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh,
that's
God.
That's what she trained for.
That's amazing. You trained to wear a suit. I like that. You wear it well, to be fair.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Pleasure.
But what I really needed to get was hands-on production experience, and commercials are great for that. And so I did a lot of that. You have to learn to do a lot of different things very quickly. So, the first time I had to set someone on fire, or the first time I had to get a car stunt, or throw someone
not even for work.
You have to kind of figure this stuff out. Well, not figure it out. That's really bad, actually. I shouldn't say that. You should bring experts onto the set who know more than you, so that you can learn
from them, and next time figure it out.
And then next time you just throw them off the building yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. You go, I've done this before. I've seen how they do it. It's easy.
It's a great training ground.
It's a great training ground. And just to caveat that, no, please have experts when you do this.
Also, please wear a tux, because we do have standards.
We do have standards.
I was saying right at the beginning, I'm just, I really, never mind, let's carry on. I'll do my best not to.
No, you're doing brilliantly, and I love it. I'm a big fan already. You've won awards at Empire, The Times, New York Times, Screen International Variety. So many gongs along your way. Best Film Awards, 2 Animation Film Awards, and you've had acquisitions from Film 4 Sky Arts HBO, and Studio Canal, which is ace.
Thank you.
You have so much experience and expertise, and it's a delight and a joy to have you join us. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Dom Lenoir, so those who don't know, I'm sure you do, because we talk about it, we bang on about what work we do sometimes, but we don't often big ourselves up that much. So I'm going to do that for Dom right now, because he's an excellent guy. He's not only a director, writer, and a producer, he's directed 3 films before he was 30. The one that we want to talk about the most is Winter Ridge, which stars Ted Lasso's Hannah Waddingham, who was recently in Mission Impossible, which myself and Dom went to see at the IMAX on a special screening. There's probably about 20 of us in the huge IMAX, and it was unbelievable. He's also produced soundtrack to 16, When the Screaming Starts, I Love My Mom, and Time Travel is Dangerous, which is out in cinemas now, which is on the tour. Go see it. It is incredible. I also worked on it, so I was lucky enough to say that, and I am able to say that. And we are going to do a podcast special with the Shakespeare sisters and the director coming up very soon with myself and Dom. So look forward to
cool,
that.
Guys. Very cool.
Very cool. Dom went to Cannes with his project, and it sounds like it was a success. We will find out what happened in this podcast, so stay tuned. Stephen Follows. Hello.
Hello.
You all right?
I'm all right. I'm not in a tux or on a boat, so I really feel like the squalid member of the team here.
But something is rocking. And it is. He's an established data researcher. We know this. If you haven't checked out Stephen Follows' work, then do. StephenFollows.com. It is incredible what he does within the film industry to give you facts, information, knowledge about why films work and why they don't, and where this information comes from. He finds it. He gets it all there. He's been featured in the New York Times, The Times, similar to Enfys, and many more. And he runs his website, as I say, with all those pages and pages of filmmaking facts and figures. He's just launched the new one about Cannes, which we'll get onto in a minute. And he's got the fantastic horror report, which I urge anyone, even if you're not making a horror film, to go check out. My team behind Dirty Boy, which has just been nominated for 4 awards, by the way, at Raindance.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
I gave that to the team on Dirty Boy. They read it. It was very, very useful for them. So thank you, Stephen. But if you haven't, you can get this copy of the amazing
Well, it sounds like you can buy it at horrormoviereport.com, or you can ask Giles and he'll just give it to you for free.
It's true. It's true. But no, I won't give it to you for free. You have to be my friend.
No, he charges a premium.
Okay, good. All right.
I do, Stephen. I'm making money from it. So
as long as someone is, that's the important thing.
So much money.
Making money from a film?
Yeah, I know. Well, it's a film report, to be fair, Enfys, but still, he has taught at major film schools. His screenwriting has won Virgin Media Shorts, the Reed Film Competition, so many awards. Awards. He's been nominated for a BIFA, and he's longlisted for a BAFTA. He's produced over 100 short films, 2 features, Baseline and The Grind. He's the host of the podcast Show Me the Money and authored by AI. He's also a Guinness World Record holder adjudicator. So if you got the Guinness World Records book for Christmas... The Guinness.
I think you've had enough.
There's no tea.
I've had way too much. There might be. If you're not drinking Guinness, you're drinking tea. Yes, he is one of the adjudicators. So that means his work is in the Guinness World Records. And I think you might be a record holder. Is that true as well, or is that happening? Or
no,
did you not win?
They told me that I'm of all the contributors, I'm the person that has submitted the most records in the shortest amount of time. But I didn't I didn't force them to put it in the book. So I think
next year.
I think it's a bit self-indulgent. So I think we'll say.
Of course it is.
Also, isn't it cool to have the record and then not need the paperwork? So I'm going to go with that.
It's so
the
cool,
lazy option.
Even, like,
I disagree.
I
like trophies.
I would say demand it. I've
Next
got a world record as well, but I have to share with about 10,000 other people. So it's not as cool as either.
Is it a drinking record?
It is a drinking record in Scotland. No, it's not. There was about 10,000 of us singing in a choir at Wembley in one place. So we were like the largest live recorded choir or something. It's nowhere near as cool as what Stephen did.
But still, you're a record holder and Stephen isn't.
I don't think they even put it in there. I don't think that's way down the list.
Wait, it's your name's not, but the actual award is the thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think they're not going to put 10,000 names in there.
That's amazing. I like that.
Where's your Guinness World Record, Giles?
It's pending.
Is it on the way?
No. I think I should, though, for hosting the amount of podcasts I've hosted.
Yeah.
I think that there should be an award. I don't know if it just should be an award. Wait, here you go. There's an award. There's an award here. I got.
Oh, look at that. That's so cute.
Thank you. It's a star.
Now, you guys can't see this, but what's happening is that the Zoom system is blurring out his background, which makes it look like he's blurring out his award, which makes it look like it's in the shape of something highly obscene. Well, it looks like he just grabbed like something obscene from the shelf and showed the camera, and all of us just see this big blur on it. Like, oh, what did you win that for, Giles?
For the record, it was something obscene.
It was. I love that.
Well done on your gold star, though.
Yeah. Are we at the 12-minute mark yet when we start talking about movies? Or no,
we've gone past it. We've gone past it. Yeah. Quickly then.
What kind of podcast do you think this is?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Are we doing the bit where you do your own awards because you're probably better at doing them than me?
My awards or just the films?
And your blurb.
Because if we did the awards, Dom, we'll be here forever.
That's all right. I can go and do some stuff while you're talking.
Yeah. Please. Dom, do you want to attempt this or should I just read it? It's probably easier.
Giles is known for studio movie The Dare.
Yay!
Wolves of War.
Yay!
What was the one with...
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Edge of Darkness.
Anymore. Edge of Darkness.
No, World of Darkness.
World of Darkness.
Yeah. Anyway, I've made a load of movies, directed, produced, and written movies. Dirty Boys in Raindance, 22nd of June. Do come along. Tickets are available now. I'm in post on Sessions, which I've just finished filming about a month ago
Directing,
now.
yes.
Directing that, and yes, all good. That's enough. Good.
Stranger in Our Bed. There we go. I remember.
Well done. Stranger in Our Bed is out now. It's brilliant.
Everybody.
Yay! We're
Cool. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, everyone.
It's a good episode. We've got zero useless information so far.
Absolutely. So far is zero. So you've got through to this stage. Hopefully I haven't edited everything down. So let's discuss what we're going to discuss today. And then let's discuss it. Does that sound like a discussion we should be having?
Let's do it.
Okay. So topics we're going to be talking about today is Cannes and festivals. How was it? Was it successful this year? What changed? What didn't? What can you gain from Cannes and festivals in general and how to navigate them? Then we'll talk about AI. What's happened? Things have moved on dramatically. Stephen sent me something yesterday that made my mouth hit the floor, and it wasn't something obscene. Well, it kind of
that was the surprising bit. Usually when I send
that sounds like my
It's almost always obscene with
it does. Sounds like a Saturday night. I love it. So what's happened since we last spoke about this, and what can filmmakers like yourselves take and use from it? Because that's important. And what makes a film British, American? We feed into Trump's tariffs. There wasn't that much talk in Cannes about this, unless other people felt differently. And how did this affect the market, and will it, etc.? And then any other news that needs discussion. And of course, we'll be doing Stephen's quiz along the way to keep it fun and interesting.
I know other news, as Giles has written in the email.
I did write that.
Yeah.
What other news?
I don't know. Well, that's it. What other news that we go?
Like a surprise. I love surprises.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Except I don't, probably. I don't know. Who knows? I've grown up now, so surprises are a bit dangerous,
like box
aren't they?
office surprises unless they're good ones. Those are the only surprises that I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Anyway, so where should we start? Stephen, do you want to start with a bit of a pop quiz on we'll obviously dive into
Ken. I saw Dom in Ken, and the first thing he said to me was, "Can I have some points?" And I
yeah.
Yeah. See, and so here's your chance then.
Take that, Phil.
So are you guys, how are we going to do it? I've got some questions. Are you going to write down answers or just first one that buzzes in? How do you want to do it, Giles?
Oh, no, I'm terrible at this. You know what? Like, people actively ask me not to be on their pub quiz team.
This is good. This is good news.
This is great. Yeah, I might not come.
Dom might win.
No, so I end up just like going to the bar and get people drinks and stuff. I don't even engage. So
okay, well, in that case, what we should do is we kind of make it a round discussion, but it's kind of first. I think we should do first one buzz.
No, let's still do the quiz.
It's a quiz, but it's not a Christmas
fun.
quiz. It's more as we go, and if you got it right, you get a point, and it's a bit of fun. It doesn't really matter. Okay. There's no prize apart from this one. I'm going to show the camera now.
Oh this is disgusting. Put it away. Oh my God. Children, at least wash it. Come on. Okay, right. Moving back on topic. What year was Cannes founded?
1976.
Not 76. What did you say, Giles?
I didn't. I said, "Oh my God, that's ridiculous." I think it was way earlier.
Is it 36?
Like in the 40s or 50s or something like that.
Yeah,
hold on, 40s or 50s. I'm not going to accept 20 years as an option. In the same way, I'm not going to accept Dom constantly shouting numbers until he accidentally hits it.
No.
That's how he does it.
That was my close second, 36.
Okay, I'd like final answers from everyone.
Well, it's been going. I know this. So you guys give final answers, and then I'm going to work it out on the podcast.
I'm going to do 36 because it is about 75 years or something. And
78 years.
Yeah.
Right, it is 78 years, correct. So we just need to work back.
In like 1950s.
Who's the quickest to do that? It is 2025.
Quickest, Giles. It's going to be the first one who can get it.
Get it back. So take off 80 years and plus
1947.
947 has got to be right.
1946.
Oh!
What?
That's the way numbers work. Yeah. No,
right, so 1946. No one gets that. Right. Okay. That's it. 946. Wow.
Yeah, that was the first one. So
what happened then?
Just after the war.
It was just after the war, but Venice was set up a few years before that, and so in 39, I think. So obviously the war did slow things down, and it started fairly small. And since then, they've built a lot of the infrastructure that's there, and they built the Palais, which is the really big building. You know, I know some of the listeners would have been quite a lot, and some people won't have been at all. The Palais is the purpose-built building. And they estimate that the festival, just the film part of the festival, brings about $250 million to the local economy, which is probably 6 pizzas or something out there.
Yeah, it's so expensive.
And you can tell that all the menus are written on chalkboards so that they can rub them off the week after and just put the normal prices back on. Yeah. But I looked at my hotel. My hotel cost 5.5 times more than the week before. When I looked at because I looked at how much I was paying, and I looked at how much the rate was outside of the festival. 5.5 times.
So if you spent £1,000, let's say, the week before, it would have been 5.5 grand.
If those were the numbers, I can assure you, I did not spend 5.5 grand.
Stephen was dropping 20k on his one.
I can assure you, this was a very, very cheap hotel. There were no stars. In fact, the only star that stayed there was me. It was like a 0-star hotel, and it was absolutely tiny. But that's the only way I know that I was at least being ripped off in an affordable way.
Were you far away from the croisette, or did you have to walk in?
One of the things I went for was location, because this is the thing that every year they go to Cannes, you got to think about how would you like to be ripped off, and so you can cram yourself in an Airbnb with loads of other people. You can stay far away in the hills or one of the neighbouring towns, and they're all good options because you can walk. There are buses, trains, or you can stay.
They're not good options. Staying miles away is such a terrible idea. I spend so much time convincing people. They're like, "Oh no, it's only a bus away." And like, you want to be able to go home, change, have a shower, recover for an hour before you go out at night.
I don't know. I've done both. Listen, on that, I've done both. And I didn't mind, because sometimes you go, I don't need to go home and have a shower, because the day rolls into the evening.
But you do a short
candle. You're not a girl. You don't have to change your
do your hair. That's true. I do have to change my hair. and sometimes my shoes.
If you've got a red carpet event, you want to go home and.
I don't see. This is why I do Cannes differently. I don't do the red carpets. So my Cannes is for business and meeting people.
Does no one invite you?
Oh, oh you killed me. But I really like
we were saying that we always have this debate, me and Giles, because he's like, I'm there to do like meetings. See, Giles generally does a short Cannes, I do a long Cannes, but I kind of feel like that sometimes you just want to go into a cinema and you want to have that experience where everyone is clapping and celebrating cinema, and you want to feel the joy and euphoria that maybe one day you'll get to amongst all the suffering and the pain. So I feel like that's so valued above the meeting time.
I appreciate it.
It's definitely a different vibe. It is definitely a different feeling being in a premiere in Cannes.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, there's standing ovations pretty much at a drop of a hat. Like everyone's giving everybody standing ovation, but it is quite fun. But genuinely, there's a real sense of excitement and support and camaraderie, and the energy is really high. It's just very exciting, and it is great. It's fun to like walk down the red carpet and be packed. I mean, Giles wouldn't know anything about that, but
do they really pap you though, or is it just you walk past and go, please take a photo of me?
I did one year. Someone else paid my hotel bill, and they stayed in one of the nice hotels for a few nights. And I tell you what it's like. You walk in, and all the photographers go, and they start to their cameras, and then they see it's you, and they go, oh. And to be disappointing people by attending is, I mean, they're right. They're absolutely right, but it's very intense.
I'm still in the fashion magazine from the first time I did the red carpet
You're still in it?
She can. Yeah, there's like a fashion section.
What were you wearing?
I was wearing like a blue. By the way,
what's that?
If you want to get in the papers. Anyway, sorry, go on.
There we go. Yeah. No, so it was a leader was a friend, works with like Yes She Can and that group and the Rolling Film Festival. And she knew a paparazzi on the red carpet, and we ended up in this Cannes fashion guide that I'm told I'm still in.
You're still, not only were you fashionable, you're still fashionable. That's style. You crossed out fashion into style there, Dom.
Yeah. So there we go.
Hey, that is surprising.
Enfys, tell us this tip though that can get you pat.
Well, it applies to pretty much every premiere. So I
like it.
I remember one of the first premieres I went to. This was when I was working for the studios, and you get your invitation that says, must be seated by 6 p.m. because they want the red carpet, everyone in their seats, out the way. So then the limos roll in and all the stars get out and do their...
Which is me, normally.
Right? So the first rule is ignore the time. So just like forget that, just ignore it completely.
Okay.
And then I remember, I'm probably going to get into trouble for this. Let's just say one of the studios for one of their major tentpole releases.
Yes.
I was standing on the edge of the red carpet, and the guests I invited were saying, "No, we should go." She goes, "No, hold."
Yeah, hold the line. Yeah,
hold. And the security were like trying to usher us in as well.
Of course.
I was like, you are absolutely supposed to be here. You do not need to do anything, So, and then I saw the limos roll up, and I was like, "Wait for it." And then all the doors opened, the stars got out, and I went, now! And we kind of walked into the red carpet, and the whole, all the, the fans, like, wah! And I was like, yes! So then we were walking immediately behind all the stars. It was crazy, because all the paps were going off. I was like, see? You see?
They were there for you. They were there for you.
Well, I mean, this is what was going on in my head. I was like, thank you.
Yeah, that's really good. And the PR are looking at their pad of faces and going, no, I don't recognise this face. And the photographers are going, who is that person? To the PR company going, I've no fucking idea.
Wear a massive gown, right?
Massive gown.
And ignore the time on the invite.
Yeah.
There we go.
But I
arrived like 5 minutes before the screening time, maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
I have 4 or 5 massive gowns I can wear as well, so I'm really...
You have some lovely gowns.
Thank you.
Lovely gowns. But this is very, very true.
I'm blackballed for all premieres. You know that now.
Don't worry.
It's true. We went to one like a couple of days ago, and they always push you on, and there's only so long you can hold out on the red carpet.
Too early, Dom. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know we did. We got there too early, and they always do arrive like at the time you're supposed to be seated cheated by. So going late, just even if it's like 2 minutes before the cutoff, go then.
Go then.
But you don't want to not them go, no, you can't get in now because you're too late.
Yeah, that's not ideal either.
That's not ideal. Stephen, sorry, you were saying.
What's interesting about Cannes and the premieres is like the intersection of three very different types of Cannes that happen all on at the same time. So I really, over the years, I've seen like there's business Cannes, there's art Cannes, and there's social Cannes, right? So business Cannes is what Giles was talking about. It's what I'm there for as well, which is that you're spending all the day hours meeting people, sometimes really short meetings, sometimes longer meetings, but you're just trying to meet people. And maybe as the early party's starting about 5 p.m. and stuff like that, you're going to them, but networking things. But by the evening, you're really sort of shattered and you're sort of tailing off. That's business Cannes, right? Then there's art Cannes, where it's seeing all the films and you're trying to see as many as you can, and maybe you stay for the second week when they've got repeat screenings and stuff, but you're fundamentally sitting in a small dark room in the south of France, and you might go to some of the parties, but you're trying to see the films and things like that. And there's 2 new films every day in the main competition, and there's the other sidebar competition, so there's no shortage of movies. And then the social Cannes is all the party stuff. And you probably get up at 3 p.m. because you've got a whole evening and you've got all these things to do. And there was a group of lads that I saw when I was coming out my hotel twice this year. Same group of lads where I was coming down out my hotel at like 8 a.m. for the first meeting, and they were coming home. And the second time around, there was a sort of salute, a sort of nod of like we were doing different Cannes, and there was an acknowledgement that we were passing. But you can't do them all because you would just wipe out. But premieres are kind of all three. Because it is about networking. It is about meeting people. It's definitely the social side. And you are there technically to watch a film, although everyone says at the premiere that the film was great, because it's a bit rude to go to someone's birthday party and think, wow, they're looking a bit old. So like but it's the only place that really intersects all three of those Cannes.
Yes, very true. Very true. Well, should we get to how we felt this year was then? Because there was quite a lot of talk, especially after last year. And Cannes was coming back last year after COVID and, after the strikes. And people were saying, right, this Cannes is going to be the one. That was last year in 2024. And this year, people were quite optimistic going in. There was quite a bit of buzz. Everyone I spoke to had different experiences of this. Some people said it was exciting. Some people found it really invigorating. And I found that there was lots of new people there this year. I was talking to lots of people who hadn't been before. So there's a lot of older hands guiding them through it, talking them through it. I know my experience of it and what I took from it. And I didn't go with any kind of great expectation. I went with going, should go. I should.
You went with a lost voice.
I went with a lost voice as well, which didn't help because. And what I said last week, what's great about Cannes is everyone else is very happy to speak, so it's okay. You can nod and wave and do your thing, but it's Cannes and you're supposed to speak, so that became a problem. However, I have my experiences on it, but it'd be really good to get yours first. Enfys, how did you find it this year?
Well, and going back to your 3 reasons for going, the 3 different types of Cannes. Last year, I think I did probably social and business. And this year, it was pure business. So I was going with a project to present a project for the first time to the industry, to sales and distributors. And so my focus was very different. Last year, I was sort of we were getting the project off the ground. This year we were presenting the project. So it was I had a different focus and a different objective. So I didn't really pay much attention to anything else other than my own project. And so...
so anytime anyone else was speaking, you've just switched off.
I'm not interested. If it was Dom, I'd be like, oh, no.
Oh, God, please.
Very rude.
Try to be funny. Do something.
I did go to some parties. Dom very kindly invited me. Well, actually, Dom invited me, and then I invited about 7 other people, and we did not manage to get in.
Yeah.
So well done, Dom.
Shout out to the IFFG.
Yeah.
and Premier Comms for being very, 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 very lenient and kind to us.
So I did go to some parties, but I wasn't really... what's the way to say this without sounding arrogant? I didn't really need anything from anybody. So
which is kind of a good place to be, I think. It means you can kind of enjoy yourself.
She dropped that one on the head of the BFI as well.
Sorry?
Did you?
So I don't need anything from you.
The BFI, chatting to the BFI.
Yeah, the BFI.
I was actually speaking to the BFI saying it's not what you can do for me, it's what I can do for you.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, it's classic.
As it should be.
It's not BFI, it's BFU.
Yeah. Well, I think that
the BFI party was probably the best one. I thought I had to really. It was most
Which one?
interesting conversations,
BFI.
helpful conversations.
Not for me. Not for me. We'll get on to that later.
Who was it, Don? We can get
No.
But in terms of your...
Yes, this was different, and I had a very clear objective. We also hosted an event which we were inviting people to watch the teaser for the movie and our sort of behind the scenes and meet the whole team. And it was a closed event. It was invitation only. We had our own event space, our own screen. So it was all focused on that.
Very good scones.
Great scones, and we had a full house. Actually, we had standing room only, and we ended up having to put on additional presentations because more people wanted to see it than we'd expected. So, and then after that, it was all the follow-ups. So in the days before, it was prep, then it was the actual doing of the event, and then it was all the follow-ups, and then I was out. So,
can I ask you, how did you manage to put that on? I think there'll be quite a lot of filmmakers listening now and go, that sounds great, I want to do that next year. How did you go about it? What was good about it? What was bad about it? What did you learn from it?
I think your project has to be in a very, very fully packaged, ready position.
Advanced stage, yeah.
Yeah, really advanced. So we were fully packaged in all senses that we were fully financed, fully cast. We have our infrastructure. It's an animation movie, our animation studio, our HODs, everything ready to go, script done, everything. And the only thing we were looking for was a home. Like, it was literally a case of, do you want it?
And Enfys hasn't found a home, and she's now on a boat.
Yeah, I haven't found. I'm just like,
that's why she's on a boat. I need a home, guys.
Yeah,
while I'm here.
So we, quite often I think, oh, there's so much to discuss, isn't there? Like, I'm sure, I'm sure I've been that person as well, where you think when you've got a script and you have a director and you think you have the world, and actually. You are probably about 2 or 3 years away from being fully packaged, depending on the project and how big it is and how much money it is and which cast you want and so forth. And I was presented with something recently and I was like, I really like this concept, but you're about 2 years away from presenting this to me. So it's all about the fastest route to yes, really. It's
right.
You want to give the conversation you don't want to have is, great, I think this is great. So listen, let's talk again when you've got X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
You want to feel, yep, got it. I've got that. Yep. There's literally nothing else for you to do other than to hear their answers to whether they want it or not.
Yeah. And also that puts you in a great position to say, why should I go with you? Why are you my sales and distributor?
Correct.
Right?
So it was a really positive, collaborative, and sort of enjoyable experience to have that leverage as well.
Yes. And how did you set it? How did you set it up? Did you book it? What you said you booked a space. How did you do that? Did you do it way in advance? Was it the right space, etc.? In your opinion?
So I have to thank. And I'm not quite sure. I have to be really careful about who I'm mentioning them because we haven't actually announced this. So I can't really say who my financiers are, who's in the movie, or anything like that.
That's fine. We believe you.
Cool. It's what you would call a studio level movie, but we're an independent production. So it's it's a sort of a $30 million movie, big Hollywood stars, Oscar winning, multi-Oscar, multi-BAFTA winning studio and HODs. So high caliber, well put together, well packaged. So the thank you goes to our financiers who enabled us to put on that event in a really lovely apartment just off the Croisette, which had a beautiful terrace. So what we did was we had some catering and some champagne and scones, as Don likes to call them.
Oh yeah,
they're scones.
And
scones.
we invited everybody. It's literally, if you're a good producer, worth your salt, and you have, I'm just waving my phone here, your contacts book. That's where you literally just go through your Rolodex and all the contacts and the relationships that you've been able to maintain over the years and invite people along. And they enjoy a glass of champagne. They watch the teaser, and in our case, the behind the scenes. And then some of our HODs got up to speak about the pipeline and the fact that we're using AI and Unreal Engine.
Someone did a curtsy.
I also did a curtsy by accident because everyone was applauding. I just got a bit carried away.
That's amazing. Like the Queen. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. To be fair, that is kind of cool.
And it was a great success. So if you're, I'm in a different position in that I'm fully financed. And so we have a budget. And so we were able, thank you to the financiers and our co-producers, to have the ability to do that.
Yes.
And that enabled us to use a nice apartment, with some drinks and some snacks and a nice sound system and a nice big screen, and we put the whole thing on. But that just didn't just happen. That is the result of years of work to get to that position. I didn't just call my mates up and put it on. This is the result of about 3 years' work to get to this point.
There you go. Yeah, and that's just, it's a less for all filmmakers out there. It takes time. This isn't a quick fix. Nothing is. It just takes a long time. Did you said you went with it last year as well, not as you just went to meet people last year to get to this stage as well?
We developed it to quite an advanced point by last year. And at that point, we were looking for finance. And so last year, I was able to secure the finance. And then over the last year, that finance has been put to good use to lock in, HODs, to produce this teaser, to produce the BTS, to do cover a lot of the legal development costs, and to test the pipeline for animation.
Love it. That's amazing. What a success story. Huge congrats to you. I'm looking forward to hearing how
it's not just me. I did it all myself with help.
I can imagine you did it all by yourself.
Yeah, that's all I've been hearing. That's all I've been...
There's been a team, I'd say a core team of about 10 people.
Wow.
A wider team of about 30 people who've touched it.
Wow. That's really impressive. And yeah, it says it all. It is teamwork. Filmmaking is so hard.
And I have this motto, which is it has to be project first, ego last. So whatever is good for the project, that's what you do. If it doesn't stand up to the ego test, then it's probably a bad decision. So don't do it.
Love that. That's great.
Yeah.
Before we come on to you, Dom, Stephen, maybe it's time for another sort of question for us that can lead into your opinion on how Cannes went for you this year, or how you felt it was this year.
Well, you guys might know the answer to this one. So I'm intrigued because this is about the passes you get. So I was actually talking to Chris Jones, as an old friend of mine. He hadn't been to Cannes for a few years, and
he runs the London Screenwriting Festival.
That's right, Screenwriting Festival.
Shot Mission Impossible second year.
He was Splinter Unit director of Mission Impossible, the one, the last two, yeah. And he also wrote the Guerrilla Filmmakers Handbook before that. So I think his first Cannes was like early 90s or whatever. And he said, he said there was no security there, and he just sort of turned up. And you just said, yeah, I'm a filmmaker. And then they'd be like, okay. And from my first Cannes was in 2005. And so it was post 9/11. I think 9/11, from what I hear, kicked off a lot of the security and things like that. And now the security, it wasn't as bad this year as it's been. Well, it wasn't as tight this year as it's been in some years, but it is still quite tight. And I know at least one person who used somebody else's badges and got caught, which surprised me because I didn't think they got caught. But they genuinely got escorted off.
You get banned for life now if you give your pronouns to someone.
Well, the funny thing is that they don't know who this guy is, because he was using a different pass, and I'm not going to give enough information on the pod for them to find out who it is. They took the pass and they sent him away, and then the person whose pass it was said hadn't actually turned up to Cannes yet, and they said, "Oh yeah, I'd lost my pass." They had to pay a fine, whatever it is, 50 years, I don't know, it's that sort of range, and then they got a reprint, but they didn't actually get banned because I don't think they thought it was deliberate or egregious.
Oh, right.
No, but I think if you do get caught, I've heard it was 2-year ban, but it could be a lifetime ban. However, I haven't heard anyone that happening to. They're being threatened. Basically, if you don't know, when you go to Cannes, you have to go to accreditation. You have to get a badge. It's a market badge, basically, a marche de film. And that gets you into the building Stephen was talking about. So you can go to all the stalls and potentially go to see some films as well, but you have to be in a lottery.
And that's what I want to talk about, because there are different types of badges. If you're a member of the press, you apply for a press badge and you have to submit what you wrote last year as well. And so if you write bad things, they don't like that. There's this sort of soft censorship there, and there's a status thing. There are also different ones for people exhibiting and if you're buying films. But the two that are probably most likely to be used by the audience listening here are the festival one and the marché one. So the festival one, you just sort of have to prove yourself with IMDb credits or something. Although I was talking to an actor friend of mine who is moving into producing, and he's got an agent. He's got credits for the last 20 years. And he actually, this year, they rejected him based on his credits. They just said he wasn't producing enough stuff. And again, I don't know if
people have been this year, actually.
Yeah, I don't know what it reflects, whether it is just that my cohort of people I know are aging up, and so they're these are challenges I wasn't facing 20 years ago, or whether they're changing policies. It's always quite opaque. But anyway, that's more about like convincing them. And then you have to pay a small amount because there's a sort of carbon offset. But the Marche pass gives you access to more screenings and more things, but it costs money. And so my question, do you guys happen to know if you were to rock up on the day and buy a market pass, which is the paid one, and it is for the whole time, and you're buying it on the day, which is the most expensive, how much it would cost in euros?
Do you mean for a day or the whole
No, for the whole thing. So you can buy, you're right, you can buy day passes. I don't mean that. I mean a pass for the whole market.
Wow.
If you were to rock up, convince them that you are a professional, but you want a market pass and you're paying.
I thought it was something like 300 or 500.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, I think I heard somebody was trying to get a day pass and it was something like 225 euros for the day.
Yeah.
That was on the day. I mean, I bought mine for 24 euros.
Well, that's how much
you had a festival pass, right?
We get a festival pass. So basically, so those people who don't know, a month or so before, you should do it probably 2 months before, you can apply for your badge. If you try and do it a month just before it, you can often miss out. But it's 24 euros every year for, if you're in the film business, you can get a badge to walk around the festival and be there. You're allowed to be there as a filmmaker. My friend
used to be like 300 to 500 back in the day. I mean, maybe it's gone up.
Yeah, back in the day, I think it's gone up. I know this year someone tried to get a day pass and it was around 225, 250 for a day pass. I think it's about 1,500 for the whole time for a pass.
Stephen, do you have the answer?
I do.
It does, but wait, so get the closest. What's our final answers? I'm going with 1.5.
Is euros or pounds you're saying, Giles?
Euros.
Euros, yeah. I've got the numbers in euros.
Okay.
This is for the whole thing. For the whole week? How many days we're talking?
Well, it's not done on a per day basis, but it's just like a pass, like you would. It's the same pass you'd get if you'd applied 2 months before, but you just decided to rock up.
Oh, maybe it's a bit less than, 750. I've gone with 1.5. Fuck it.
Okay, I'm going to go.
Just guess. Come on.
All right, 1,200.
Long enough.
I thought it was way less, but I'm going to go 1,200.
Right, Dom first. What did you say? 1,200?
1,200, yeah.
Enfys?
I know this is wrong, but I think it's like, I'm going to go for like 450 just for the sake of making this interesting.
Yeah, I've gone way too high. Okay, Stephen, what is it?
Well, so let's ramp up to it. If you buy a market pass in enough time in the early bird, which is in February, basically, then it's 439 euros.
Wow.
Okay.
If you do it during what they call the normal period, which is basically March and April, it's 500 or 499.
I could be
500. And if you buy it on the day, by the way, none of you asked me whether to apply French VAT on this, so I don't think any of you are taking this seriously. So the figures I'm quoting are ex-VAT, but whatever. I'm the only one taking it seriously, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
If you buy it, so from the 12th of May on site, it is 600 euros. Emphasis, right?
Emphasis.
I said at the start 500, and you were all like, no, it's way more expensive. Dom, way more expensive.
It's your own fault, Dom. You shouldn't be
said 300 to 500 at the start.
The thing is, Dom is one of those kind of flaky creatives. He can't. Do you know what I mean? Like,
what are even numbers, Dom? You know, what are they? They don't make you feel anything, do they? They're not the right colour.
So point for Enfys. There we go.
But what's interesting is that the Cannes, when we talk about Cannes, we mean different things. Like Cannes is literally a town in France. It is also the whole event, the market and the festival. And obviously, if you say you have a film in Cannes, the implication is it's in competition. You need a pass to get into the Palais and to some of the screenings and the villages, but you don't need it to stay in the town or to meet people in all the coffee shops or to go to almost any of the parties, because the parties are in other venues and villas. Yeah. So more and more people are not buying passes because the prices are going up, and actually just meeting in, whether it's Cafe Roma or another coffee shop or whatever. And so that's part of the change that's happening with the Marche, was that they could previously rely on this income, but it's this sort of inflation. As they make it more expensive, people have more incentive to not do it. Not do it.
Talk about this actually, because quite a few people either got rejected this year, higher than normal, and a lot of people also didn't buy their pass early enough. Like, I think people sort of go, it's not till May, so I'll get it in April or something. I think I bought mine in February for 24 euros. Yeah. I sorted my accommodation, I think, in March.
I did too, exactly the same.
I think, of course, the week before, kind of was like, have you got a spare room? Have you got a spare bed? And it's like, if you're asking, if you're a first time, I even sort of sent some messages around to various WhatsApp groups and on saying, look, if anybody is going for the first time and just wants some advice, drop me a line, because there's some stuff that you can do that just makes it easier for yourself. Get to 24 euros.
Yeah.
Book your accommodation. Some people have already booked their accommodation for next year already.
Yeah, it does make sense.
I booked mine in October because I would have booked it earlier, but the hotel weren't accepting booking.
And you get an extra point for that, Steve, so you've got a point as well.
Yeah,
I've only got 1 point. Oh,
he never gets points.
The curse of the quizmaster, never getting any points.
You don't deserve
But no, you're absolutely right. It is all about preparation, and also it is different every year, but it's also the same every year. So when you talk to people who've been for multiple times, the first 5-10 bits of advice they'll give you are so valuable because these are things we learn. And even that conversation we were having before about where you stay and how you prepare for it. I mean, some people just rock up because that's okay for them to see what they can blag to get in. But if you, exactly as you were saying, if you've got a project, you've got a mission of people that you want to meet, you've got to set up meetings with them. You know, the social side of Cannes, you want to get on lists, but a lot of the lists for parties, it's not necessarily being very early. But if you're trying to sell something,
it is. I mean, like if you're RSVPing like within a week of Cannes, there's a very low chance of getting into anything. You need to be doing it like 2 or 3 weeks in advance to get into like a lot of stuff, unless you have like a direct connection or really good access, because all the lists close and then you start getting like really like fine tooth combed on your application. So that's a massive one for sure.
And it's the same with meetings as well, isn't it? Like, I mean,
meetings.
If you want to meet people who are busy and are there to meet multiple people, you've got to set that up in advance and convince them that it's going to be worth them giving you one of their slots that they've got. And it's so expensive to be there. And it's the same thing with the exhibitors, where the booths cost like to have. So in the Palais, a lot of the people who are representing the rights to movies, we say selling, but they're just representing the rights. They'll have a little trade booth. And those things minimum are about 10,000 euros, and they go up from there, and they're getting more expensive. And so therefore more people are doing the same thing, where they're just hiring hotel rooms or even not eschewing all of that cost, because that cost is paid for by the successful filmmakers from their roster who pay the cost back. So it's not like this money comes out of nowhere. It still comes from somewhere. So if you're able to operate maybe not without a badge in my personal opinion, but I can see the merit, but certainly without a booth, if you're able to do the business, then you've saved yourself 10 grand off the bat, and you've saved the people you're representing. I don't know, it's quite complicated to know whether that's the right thing or not, but more and more people I know are doing that. And I know that Cannes have a real problem with that.
Yeah, I think it's really important to have a badge at Cannes. Personally, I think it's just because suddenly someone's got a meeting there or a party there and you can't go in. Yeah. It does feel a little bit like, well, you might, for 24 euros 2 months before, just get one.
Just get one.
Just get one.
You're right. I mean, there's 2 sides to the social side. I'm going to take your kind of one side of Cannes and split it even further, Stephen, which is the social side. And yes, there are the parties, exactly as Giles said, and as Don was mentioning, and it's great to go to those because you get a sense of who, if you're a producer and you're wanting to meet writers or directors or actors, or you're looking to finance people, there's different parties for different things, right? And you can't get in unless you've got a badge. But there are some regular haunts that you can go to that everybody knows, and everyone is hanging out there. And so if it's your first time in Cannes and you're still sort of trying to find your feet, try and if you're in the industry, you probably know somebody who's been before and, get some advice from them and get them to sort of introduce you to some of those places. But the most famous ones are obviously the Grand, which is now called the Mondrian, but we all still call it the Grand. Always be the Grand. Yeah. And the picture.
They have kind of ruined it a bit though this year. They've put like hedges in and there's a bit less casual hang outside vibe.
Right there they put shrubbery.
I
know. But there's places, if it's your first time or, you're sort of still trying to find your feet around how to, navigate the festival, I think the best advice is to get out and meet people. And if you're not on a party list, if you haven't been able to get into parties, get out and shake hands with people who are sitting at the Grand, having a beer outside the Petit Majestic, find out who they are, what they do, what they're looking for. Maybe they've got a gang of people that are going on somewhere else, and they're meeting other people. It is, I think, there's a big chunk of it, which is chance meetings.
Yeah, they're the best ones.
You just into down the pub.
They're the best ones. They're the ones where things just happen because you're just chatting with someone, because it's being natural. You're not coming in going, I need to do this, I need to sell something, I need to impress. You're just generally having a chat. But because Cannes has just been, I think this is also applicable to all festivals in terms of EFM, AFM. You've really got to plan what you're doing with your films and with you as a production company or you as an entity. Is if you want to meet someone, someone before a festival or before, one of these big events, you have to plan that. You have to turn up. You have to make sure you've got a badge. You've got to make sure you've got somewhere to stay. You've got to plan it all. Cannes is very different because it's its own beast. Because it's just been, people will either listen to this in a year's time to catch up. Obviously, we've got our Can Do Attitude blog as well, which we update every year as well in terms of how you survive Cannes. But
what if you don't?
Even if you don't.
I would say also, though, that I think it'd be worthwhile people listening to this now, because then they've got a year to prep and be fully prepared.
Yes, that's true too. Yeah.
So, it's about, and also we had a little lunch, didn't we, Dom? And you guys were pitching. We were doing little pitch practice.
Yes. Yeah, I was told my pitch was quite good.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, look, Dom.
I said it was okay.
Wow, you couldn't let him just.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Couldn't
This
even
is
get
to the film industry.
I chaperone a nice distributor to your event, and this is how I get repaid.
You should have brought more.
Yeah, you ate some of her scones.
You didn't do enough.
She
knows what she's doing. She's a professional.
I demolished those desserts.
I have one last Can question, which is not a numbers question.
Don't worry, I don't need to.
What I love that you thought that was aimed at you. Of all of the films that have won the Palme d'Or, what's the highest rated on IMDb?
Oh, that's a great question.
It's not a trick question. It's not like some obscure film. Like,
could we know what it is first? Because I think all of us are going to be like, 7, 6, 7.8.
What do you mean? No, it's just so if you look at all the Palme d'Or winners all across the last 78 or 77 winners, because we haven't had the winner yet. Which one is highest rated on IMDb? You've definitely heard of it as well. It's not an obscure question.
It's not going to be something like Before Sunrise, is it?
Oh, we need to name the film, not what rating it is.
Oh, no, don't worry. I said it's not a numbers thing. That's fine.
Okay. I mean, can we have like a little bit of a hint? Is it American or is it European? I think that's fair.
It's American.
Is it in the last?
Is it American? No.
We'll come on to that in a bit.
Film,
this is an incredibly American film.
Right. Oh, is it? It's going to be Mission Impossible or something like that. Or
no. So that's one of the other things that's interesting, because things like Mission Impossible do get screened at Cannes. I think Shrek was screened at Cannes, but they're not screened in Cannes, are they? They're not in competition. So this is Palme d'Or winners.
So an in-competition film.
Yeah. What was your question, John?
Winner.
You asked for a clarification.
No, I can't remember what it was.
I can keep giving you clues. At some point, you'll guess it.
Yeah, keep giving us clues. I don't think any of us know.
1990s.
Oh, was it Linklaters?
Was it Shawshank Redemption?
No, that didn't win.
That wasn't in Cannes.
I don't know. Before
1990.
Before Sunrise, that's European, isn't it? Really?
You'll kick yourself. I would argue it's one of the films that is. Pardon?
It's a John Hughes film.
No, it's not. But what I like about it is that it's a film that probably means a lot to us because it's a great film from an auteur, but it's also one that really transcends that kind of because The Shawshank Redemption is a great film, commercial film, although I think it's also very good artistically. It didn't go through that Cannes route. There are other films that have gone through Cannes that very few people see, and they feel like they don't interact with sort of normal people. Yeah. This, I feel like, is one that very much fits so well in both categories. And in fact, the filmmaker behind it was at Cannes this year. Just attending.
I know who it was. All right, okay. So is this Pulp Fiction? It
is Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, 94, being in Cannes, seeing that film for the first time in the premiere? Yeah. How would that feel? That would have been amazing.
Giles wouldn't have been there.
I wouldn't have been. I'd have been passed out in the street doing business.
Well, no, I mean, because you don't. Yeah,
because I don't go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great fact.
Very good. Very good.
It's a point.
I like
that. Yeah. Very interesting.
Very interesting. Well, look, just quickly then, Dom, how was, just before we move on to AI, and which kind of goes into what makes a film British and American anyway, in terms of what we're talking about, because I know we've already chatted for an hour. Yeah. In terms of your experience then, how was it? Wrap it up in a nutshell for us as if you were...
Whoa. Everyone else gets the floor.
Listen up, Dom. Now we're moving on to the best.
I've got a quick answer. I've got a lot to say.
I haven't said my answer yet. So
okay, well, that's true. So I guess my just overall observations of since having done a load of Cannes is I like an early Cannes instead of a late Cannes now. Like out there by Tuesday night, Wednesday latest on the second week, because all the sales agents are gone by that point.
They are, yes.
And it just starts to feel a little bit more empty. Whereas if you go at the start, you catch people that are in a little bit early. There's people that you can kind of meet that you might not meet usually, and also you can sort of pace yourself a bit better.
But how was it for you? How was it actually? What was it successful?
It was fantastic. I mean, I think I targeted a lot more this year, and I did a lot more business and meetings. I I mean, not hundreds of meetings, but more like putting myself in the right places to meet people than I have in the past, and a little bit less concerned about like guest lists. And some years I do premieres, some years I don't. This year, it sort of didn't work, but I try and do them every sort of couple of years. And I think the main thing for me was pacing yourself is like really important, because you have hundreds and hundreds of conversations all the way through the day. And if you're at like 10% or 20%, your pitching is terrible and your energy is terrible, and you're not going to convince or excite or do anything. So I think like rest, not trying to get up at like 8 a.m. and then go until like 2 a.m. and do every single thing is like, that's like a really, really big one. And by the end of the festival, I still was in one piece. I wasn't like missing out on stuff.
I don't know. You didn't look ropey at the airport.
You look broken to me.
It was a bit ropey, but
yeah, it was a single piece though.
Yeah.
You didn't say a piece of what?
A piece of something. But I think, I mean, I think the key is just to know who you're talking to. Try and save your energy, like with the conversations and which events you go to. Like, I mean, one big thing is machine gun conversations, when people that you sort of come across and they ask you like 100 questions in one go. And it's like, it just saps your energy. You have to like learn when when a conversation is useful and why people can. Like if you're a director, you're probably there to find producers or to get a project made. There's certain departments where you can try and have long conversations and you're not really going to get anywhere, because it's not really the time to have those meetings. Like it's not people's focus. And I think that's like a really, really, good thing for anyone who's going to like be aware. Like if you can meet someone in London and there's no urgency and you're not going to necessarily collaborate on something, don't spend their energy on doing that.
That. Yeah, that's very true. So like say, we talked about some of those meetings where it just happened to, or you'd see someone and you'd wave and then they'd beckon you over. They were the best conversations. They were the best things with producers or with directors or friends or sales and distributors, where things happen very easily and very quickly. For me this year, I was going, Dirty Boy was already in, it was already sold, as it were. We already know our cinema run. So that was there anyway in the market. Food for Thought, the documentary had already sort of been done. And so I was just meeting a few people about that. And then the new ones, well, they're not ready yet. So suddenly I was there to go, oh, cool. I can enjoy myself this time and just go with the flow. And I really enjoyed myself. It was a really nice to do that. I didn't have to worry about getting to another meeting. I planned them way, so not sweating, running along the corset and doing all that. I've got to get to the next one. It felt really nice this year. So I felt the optimism was quite incredible, with people being excited about things.
I didn't feel, to see your question, I didn't feel that there was a negative vibe, like despite the announcements.
No.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I kind of felt it was a really good energy there. If we were to summarize, I think just kind of again, I always think it's important because we know we've been to Cannes so many times. I think this is like my 10th or 11th time in Cannes. If you're going for the first time, I think the takeouts are: get your pass early, get your accommodation early, know what you're pitching, don't have a 2-minute long pitch, get it down like 30, 40 seconds. This is what it is. This is what I'm looking for. This is who in it, did it, and get it down to 30, 40 seconds. No one wants to listen to a big, long speech. So get your pitch down and have materials ready to follow up with, and then follow up straight away.
Yeah, that is such great advice. So one thing that wound me up so much is when you say, so cool, tell me about your project or whatever. They would go into this big, long, like, what are you talking about? 4 minutes later, I still don't know what your film's about. I'm like, what are you doing? What is it?
Yeah, what is it? Who's in it? What do you need? What's the next step? Send me a
Why is it?
Why is it?
Why?
No, I don't think you should ask
why
that.
Are you?
No, definitely. We don't need for why.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, but
don't start digging there.
Yeah, no. I did also go around with my friends Tony and Zach as well with their film High Hopes, which I did help on, to meet sales and execs, and that was really interesting. Sitting in some of those meetings and listening to the conversations, and I found that really fascinating about what was going on. And I could sit and go, okay, don't forget to ask this, do this, and I could jump in if I needed. I had no voice, so it was quite fascinating to listen. Let's jump into because we sort of talked about it in there. What makes a film British and American? Trump's tariffs, did they affect anything in Cannes as well? And the industry moving forward. Stephen, lead us off on this.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a topic that's been going on for a little bit anyway, because lots of big American films have been shooting outside of America. I mean, it's been happening for decades, but it's been accelerating mostly to the UK and to Canada, but also around the world. Mission Impossible, we talked about, kind of has to be shot all around the world. It can't be shot just in America. But LA specifically and Hollywood is losing a lot of productions, and for various reasons. And so what apparently happened was that John Voight had dinner with Trump, and then Trump overnight said, 100% tariffs. Now, that itself is not a plan just yet. There is a plan behind it. But the point is that this is a global topic and is something that has been going on that the Americans actually haven't been taking part in for a while, which is that lots of countries and regions offer incentives for filming there, and they all have different things they focus on. But in order to do that, you have to know whether a film is eligible, and quite often that it comes down to nationality. You know, if you want to get the tax credit in the UK, you have to be certified as British.
Yeah.
And so when this topic came up, the more interesting question became, well, even just as a thought exercise, if you were to say films have to be American because of a tariff or an incentive or whatever it would be, how would you define them as American? Because it highlights what's important to you. So lots of countries have a minimum requirement of a spend, like Germany and Ireland say you have to spend a certain amount in the local economy. The Canadians and French and Spanish also look at who controls the production. Lots of the countries look at whether the nationality of the key creatives and some of the crew sometimes. And then sometimes language, although obviously that's less prevalent in most countries, because you get 4 points out of the 16 you need to be British for being in English, but these American films, they already are. But then some of them look at whether the content of the film is suitable for what they think of a film should be. So how it became a sort of thought exercise. How do you decide if a film is American?
Baseball caps.
Yeah.
Well, that's the obvious answer. We were going to work up to that, I thought.
Yeah, I think we'll do a quiz on it.
But I mean, like, if you've got Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, Star Wars is a British film in the sense, or most of the I think all of them have been.
Harry Potter, another example.
I mean, there was a question recently, and I can't remember if it was BBC Films or one. It was one of the UK ones, and they were investing in an entirely American production that was like basically an American sort of tentpole, very commercial movie. And there was a question around it, like, okay, well, why are they necessarily investing in that? You know, is that an American movie or is that a British movie? And there's a lot of that going on. So, like, where is that line?
But for me, I just think it's just such an outdated thing to say, because, you know, film production is just
combined,
inherently international. It's a complete misunderstanding of the interconnected landscape that is film production. You know, I did a little bit of when obviously Trump made his announcement, I did a bit of reading up that, you know, same thing as you guys. Like, okay, I looked at what he might define as an all-American film, and I was looking at Gangs of New York, for example. A friend of mine was one of the execs on that, and that had significant funding from German investment. So does that mean that it's not an American film, even though it's called Gangs of New York? Does that now not make it an American film? Marvel Studios had a fund of about 525 million, I think, to produce up to 10 films, and not all of that money was from the US. So does that mean the Marvel Studios movies are not American films? How are you defining it beyond a cultural test, which is for tax incentives? How are you defining? Do you see what I mean? Like, it's like how do you unpick all of that?
Well, it depends.
Tax incentives is something completely different.
Yes,
right. That's a cultural test, but like that's set on a different set of principles, right? But I think the announcement was very about, you know, what is an all-American film? It's like, well, I'm not sure it exists in that sense that he meant it in.
No one enters the country that's not from America and sets foot or touches or even looks at the project. I mean, it's bonkers, isn't it?
It depends what you want to defend, right? So if the reason that we have incentives is to do, I guess, three different ways. 3 different things you could be trying to defend. The one that people are often trying to defend is the economy. You know, the hundreds of millions that are spent on these big films, we want it spent in our country because it hires UK people that pay tax and they have children in school and all that sort of stuff. But you also could say that we want to fund or support local talent. It's an art question. So the first one's economy, the second one's art. You could say that, and therefore you would care what's in the film or the story, or whether it was from a book that was British or whatever. And then the last one is culture. Like you could want it to tell stories of Britain. There's no doubt that Harry Potter has added so much to the tourist economy of the UK. But does that apply to Star Wars? So it's one of those things. You need. I mean, this is sad. I understand how stupid this is to say, but you need clarity of thought, Trump. You need to work out what you're trying to defend. And if you're trying to defend just the economics, then you don't care what you're filming, and you don't care where the money comes from, and you don't care what it is. You care about where it's spent. But actually, if you're trying to say that, no, we want American values or whatever, then you might start looking at the scripts.
But did anyone actually have conversations with American producers that really even broached the topic? I mean, like for me, like a lot of the conversations were like there was no mention of the tariffs because they didn't really think that they were actually going to kind of go anywhere or sort of manifest in the way that the news articles have kind of implied.
No, they're not. This is the thing. It seems like it was bluster and discussion, and we all thought, oh no, Cannes is going to be now wasted. Everyone's just going to talk about it. But I don't think I had one conversation when I was over there about it.
Yeah.
It didn't. And I think what's been interesting is it's gone very quiet. I know the UK government are speaking to Washington about it. I know that the practicalities of trying to enforce this are ridiculous. And I think he knows that as well. And maybe it was to cover up something else. Who knows? But the backlash from everyone was just huge. It was ridiculous. And of course, California should have its own tax rebate. That should come in perhaps. I mean, I don't know enough about it. But there's a lot of other places in America do have this. And I get his point. The point is, hey, look, money is not coming back to America. Or everyone's filming in Canada or filming in Bulgaria or the UK. It's a good point, but the same in the UK. You could say all our money's going to America. Harry Potter, again, will mention that. Or some of these other films that shoot here. It does happen,
Sorry, let me just talk over you there.
No, go
on. I mean, the UK and Canada are really good examples because I looked into this as well. I think the UK, I just have to remember this right, I think they had a 31% increase from the previous year. So this is 2024 numbers. We had a 31% increase of foreign productions coming into the UK. Now, these would be American movies filmed in the UK. I think they spent about 5.6 billion, something like that. And Canada also saw a rise of, I think, about 20% increase of American or foreign films coming to shoot in Canada, and a proportion of those, I can't remember the percentage, but a percentage of those were American. So again, it comes back to your point. How do you unpick all of that? It's so complex, financial structures for movies. It's not as simple as, it's an American movie. We get all the American movie from America and we film it in America. I don't know of any production that's like that. It doesn't feel that way.
And the ripple effect of these things would be fascinating as well, because one of the things that often happens, as we've seen in other areas with tariffs, mad Trumps, Trump's mad tariffs, did I get that right? Is the counter tariffs.
You might not be able to enter America. You need to.
I've only just come back from Cannes. It's amazing. I'm sitting and talking. So what you get is counter tariffs, and actually, this is just again a thought exercise. But imagine that they did suddenly start put 100% tariffs on non-US films in US cinemas. What would then mean is that the European productions would have a harder time having films exhibited in North America, or certainly in America. But we would also have counter tariffs in Europe, and what that would mean is fewer American films in US cinemas, and European cinemas, which would leave space for many more independent productions. So we're obviously guessing many things down the line, but it would actually have some positive effects in different areas that you're not imagining, because it would suddenly create many more slots in non-American cinemas for non-American content, which many independent producers have long been saying, actually, everyone is lazy and going with and programming all these huge studio block bookings. Whereas actually, if we had a more nuanced sense of here is a more diversity from around the world, here are some great stories, it might see a renaissance in non-US theatrical things. Who knows? But that's an interesting thought.
Yeah, that is an interesting thought.
And I guess it's really difficult to predict, isn't it? Whether mind you, I mean, there's, I do feel there's a bit of fatigue around same old,
Massively, yeah.
And people and audiences, I feel, what am I basing this on? My own conversations, the general temperature of the industry, but
and box office as well. Like people,
and box office,
unless a movie's really, really good, a lot of the tried and tested inverted commas type blockbusters are doing really, really badly, and it's because they don't feel original.
They're still making money, but they are declining in terms of So they're not making the same ROI, And my concern would be any impact, and again, I don't know how this would play out. It would depend on the outcome of all of this, is a scenario where any costs are passed on to the cinema goers. Because the way I see that playing out is if you're a family of 4, like my movie is a family entertainment movie, and you've got a couple of kids and 2 adults, and you've got to get there, you've got to buy the tickets, and then you're buying popcorn and drinks, you've got to get back. That's £100, right? So. Yep. So you might only go to the cinema a couple of times a year, and you're going to be very selective about what films you watch. You might end up, if it becomes too expensive, maybe reducing that to once a year. And so the number of people that are going to the cinema reduces because of the increased cost, which means cinema closes and so forth. So the ripple effect, I'm not, could go that way as well. I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking about we don't know at this point, but we're kind of postulating on what the impacts could be, but that is another possibility.
It is, and it's a really good point, the cinemas. And interestingly, we haven't heard much about cinemas declining. Like, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, no one was going to the cinema. There was a big, big problem. But I think it's going back up because...
It's going back at the moment, but I guess we're saying, is this actually going to create another...
I don't think so personally.
No, I think it's a bit of a wet blanket. Like,
it is a bit. I think
it's like a what's the word? A MacGuffin.
It's a MacGuffin. Yeah, it's a MacGuffin in the story of Trump's, what he's getting across. But I do think California and other territories, states, as it were, need to do something about, because there's so many people not filming in California anymore. So many of my mates who moved across there as actors or producers are going, well, I'm not filming here anymore, so I don't need to live here. So they've moved away, and that's been happening to the last 5-10 years. It's only now there's people who have gone, oh, hang on. It's like, well, this has been going on for ages, mate. You should have done this ages ago and put these... basically, it needs a production incentive. That's what they need in America to help make films back over there again, like the UK have done. They've gone, okay, well, look, people weren't making them here anymore. Let's put the incentive up. The tax credit is
make
vital
films great
us.
Again. There we go. You can have
make films great again. We're trying. We're trying. Films are always great. We love films. And then, okay, so unless anyone else has got anything else to say on that, or Stephen's got a fact that we can guess on, we should maybe move on.
I think I've got one, but I think it would be a bit too obscure and perhaps...
No, I love obscure, and fuck it, because at the moment, it's only me and Enfys who've got a point, and I feel Dom really deserves one just for being here.
You could give like a charity point.
Charity point. All right, charity point for Dom.
What do you get points for?
What? Because we answered a question.
Well, I'm going for moral point because I guessed it in the start and everyone contradicted me, so I'm taking a moral.
You can't be swayed. That's like if you're on set and you decide to shoot a certain way. Someone says, "Don't do it that way, Dom." And then you come to the edit and go, "Oh, I should have."
Well, so I vaguely trust Stephen, so
yeah, but he's the quiz
at least in the statistics.
Yeah. So let's do it, Stephen. Go for it before we move on to.
Here, come on.
Okay. So this is looking at films over the last 30 years or so, just to give you some context.
Yes.
What percentage of feature films made were only shot in one country? So I'm looking for a percentage figure, and you think about all the films that were made, and if you look at how many countries they shot in, now some might have shot for one day. For example, Interstellar was shot in Iceland for a tiny period of time for some of the stuff in one of the places they went to. And so that would count as a country. So hypothetically, if that was shot in the UK and Iceland, that would be 2. So we're not talking about volume. So of all the films made since about 1990, I looked at how many countries they filmed in. What percentage only filmed in one country?
But do you mean like DVD, theatrical?
These are all films that were in... Good question. All films that reached cinemas.
Okay.
So because if you included every thing that was 90 minutes, you'd include a lot of cheap films that can't afford to go.
Cinema films, Okay, that's a good question. Well, James Bond, for instance, travels everywhere, so we know that. A lot of films do travel. They do move around in their films.
I mean, I haven't got the numbers, but James Bond or Mission Impossible, it must be each film must be 10 or something like that. You think about it?
It's quite a few in each one. Yeah, to keep it exciting. And probably to get the tax rebates and also, and bring in different territories and, it's money, isn't it, at the end of the day?
What percent...
Sorry, go on. That's the whole other...
So what percentage are shot only in one country?
What percent?
Okay, I think it's higher than we think. I don't know why. I feel like if you look at cinema films that we just went to watch, if you take out your Marvels and you take out your James Bonds, your regular sort of films that do get to cinemas, they're often in one place, aren't they? Your Linklater films or your...
I'm going to go for 42%.
Thank you for going first. I respect that. I respect that.
I like to go last.
That's only so the percentage is only shot in one country.
Yeah. So what percentage of all the films were only shot in one country?
64.
All right. Bold.
We're so wildly guessing, aren't we?
Of course we are.
No
clue.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, no, I wouldn't expect. This is why I sort of caveated it, because I don't expect anyone to know.
Dom's desperate for a point. Look at his face. Look at his face. He's desperate for a point.
You've gone for the middle.
I've gone for the middle.
53.
Yeah.
It's 89%. So
what?
Most films are shot in one country. If you look at the number, so this is a different stat now, but for the same data set. If you look at how the average number of countries, it's 1.6. Because what's happening here is that most films only shoot in one country because most films don't have a lot of money, or if it's entirely in green screen or a studio, you can't afford to go to other places. But the ones that travel do tend to travel quite a lot. So just about 7% of films shoot in 2 countries, 2.2% of films shoot in 3, and it sort of goes up from there. But 9 out of 10 films only shoot in one country.
Wow.
Because it's so expensive, I'd have to tell you guys know, to move people, your HODs and everyone, all the equipment
from one building to the next one's a nightmare, let alone...
Yeah, you lose so much time with any unit move, right? Whereas conversely, if you're able to shoot it all with found
one building per guy, Giles.
Yes.
or you can build it in a studio, like the Marvel films. They're building these worlds, which are either green screens or a mix of physical worlds.
VP is going to change everything, right?
Well, only if you've got money, right? VP, if you've got money.
So this is virtual productions. We have the big LED screens, right?
Yeah, I'm developing a show at the moment, and my ambition is to shoot it entirely using VP, and it is set in 5 completely different countries, and there's a lot of at-sea stuff, and it's period.
Yeah, but it's money, right? That sounds like it's a budget, right? Like above
budget,
3 million.
But I think I think it's much more achievable.
I agree with you with a budget. I think where our indie filmmakers struggle with that, because I've looked into it, so many others have, it's really hard to do it below 3 million. To get it right, to get it good, it suddenly becomes difficult to get names in your film and do VP, because the amount of work you've got to do up front is interesting. But I totally agree with you. I think it's a game changer. I think it's amazing. I love it.
Engine as well, right? I mean, we're about to chat about AI. So
so that brings us perfectly onto, thank you, Enfys. What a link, what a segue onto AI.
Wow.
Well done. So Stephen sent me a clip yesterday. He said, check out
Can't
this.
show it on
I probably can put it on my socials. This is, it blew me away. It was an advert, well, sort of AI saying, this is unbelievably made in AI. And it was unbelievable. I was literally, there was only one bit where I thought, that could be. And usually it was the acting. But mainly most of it was unbelievable. The action, the set pieces, the shots, how it was looked.
Ridiculous. So it looks like live action. So none of it is cartoon. I didn't make it to be clear. This is something used the new VO3 engine from Google, which has just been announced. And lots of videos have been out there, and it does a few things. It's increasing the quality of the video as they are all increasing bit by bit, but also it can do lip sync and generate the voices. So these are characters who look real, who look like they've been in filmed environments, who are speaking, and they're saying whatever you want the prompt to be. Now, it's not to say you could intercut it completely with a film today, but I think people don't... The reason I sent it to you is I don't think the film industry realizes quite how far and fast these things are moving and the effect it'll have. I'm not even saying it's good or bad. It's just...
It's bad.
so fast. But it's the whiplash we're going to get. And you think about, let's say that it gets better in another year that's totally usable, how that will affect so many jobs. I like to think of it as going from like horses being the main mode of transport in everyday life to cars. And again, I'm not saying better or worse. I'm just saying you think about all the contingent jobs, all the farriers, all the people. You're not. I'm a bit hoarse, but that's just Can. But you think about all the people that were like farriers. They were looking after. They were feeding the horses, stabling them, and also we look at all the jobs now we have in cars. You couldn't imagine the jobs you would get, but you could have definitely see the jobs you'd lose. And there'd be people who'd be like, "Well, my job's fine because I make horseshoes, and you're going to need horseshoes." Mm-hmm. So it's just kind of a bit overwhelming, and that's deliberately sitting on the fence about any of the ethics or the possibilities or any of the positives or negatives. That's a whole other another overwhelming conversation. But the reality is here now for us people working in the industry.
It is, but do we want to see it? Another thing as well with the industry changing in the 1920s, electric cars were massive. It's something that a lot of people don't know, but electric cars were massive. They took over horse and carts and they were massive for about 5 years and then they died out again. So, and now they're obviously coming back now 100 years later. And I agree with you, Stephen. These things can come, they can go.
Do you think horses and carts are making a comeback as well? Is that what
I don't think they've gone away. I'll put it that way.
I'm sure there's a hipster in Shoreditch that uses one.
Yeah, definitely. However, yes, they're few and far between. But I think my point is here, even though I was blown away with it, I don't know if I'd want to go watch a film where I knew that these are made up characters. These are made up things. And I think the audience, and especially kids these days, will just go, eh.
Well, I think you've got the exact thing wrong there. The kids are fine. I think the thing is that we think, because what you're talking about going to see instead of the AI thing is a load of liars.
Yeah.
A load of people who've faked a load of locations. And then these professional liars have said words made up by other liars who wrote them down. Now, obviously, that is to say that it's all artifice, but this is artifice that we're used to and us generationally. But whereas the next generation, the kids, if you will, that are coming in, why would this be any different to them? Like they don't have those links to it and they don't have the connection we have in the industry. So that's the real issue, is that the new generations are coming in the same way that people looked at vinyl, and that wasn't my generation. So I was like, but this isn't better, is it? I understand you like it more, and that's perfectly great. I think that's awesome, but it's not better. And again, the move from celluloid to digital and things like that. So it's the kids who will be fine with it, and they will soon be the primary consumers. And we know that cinema skews young and all that stuff. So it almost doesn't matter what we think.
That's true. Okay, how can we use it to our benefit then? Because it is coming, it is here. We can't get away from it. We shouldn't run away from it because it is here. How can we use it to our benefit?
Well, we're artists. I think that's the thing. Everyone in the film industry is, to varying degrees, an artist and a craftsperson and a technician and all these things. And these are tools that will become major tools, and thinking about how we can augment them and use them rather than seeing ourselves as, as I am exactly this. I will always do this. I mean, someone who's a good editor on celluloid is a good editor on digital. It's a very different process, but the art is the same. So my opening suggestion to the group is that it will be massively different and bad for many people, but fundamentally, it's new tools.
I think for me the main thing is story and actually feeling something when you go to the cinema, because all the spectacle in the world. I mean, there's been action films I've watched, and there's no character through, there's no like connection. And if you don't have that, I think the special effects and all the fun stuff, as you get in sort of later sequels of like major franchises, people just switch off. And I think people will switch off more and more as that technology does all the cool stuff and the whatever. So if it's not grounded in really good story and character and something that emotionally connects you, I kind of feel like that's the self-destruct button on the technology.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, Dom and I talked about this in Cannes, and I said, I mean, slightly sort of provocatively, the AI is only a threat if you don't embrace and learn how to use it, or if you have no talent. Because Dom's right. It doesn't matter how great the tech is. If you haven't got a great story, it doesn't matter how good the tech is. The story's going to be shit, and no one's going to want to see it. No one's going to buy it in the first place. So I did a little test. I know, Stephen, you've done something similar. As a bit of a joke, I put into one of my AI tools. I said, write me a movie script. Right? Yeah. Now, I kept it specifically ambiguous. I didn't say, write me a movie script about, 3 guys in space who do X, Y, Z, and this happens, and there's these characters, and da-da-da. I was like, right, if I had like 0 film experience whatsoever, right, could I still make an amazing movie? Right? This is all going back to, you don't have talent and storytelling skills and, all that kind of stuff. And I said, write me a movie script. And sure enough, it churned something out, and I was reading it, and I just,
And that's what the animation is based on.
The important thing was the launch party in Cannes. Yeah. Now, that was the bit where she turned it into money.
That's clever.
Oh, that's the funniest thing you said so the whole time.
The whole time.
High praise indeed.
And it did come up with an idea, right? Mm-hmm. But it hadn't. It was like stuff that it was like a mishmash of stuff that you could scrape from the dregs of anywhere, and there'd no substance, no soul, no heart. And to Dom's point, there was nothing engaging. It was, by definition, a movie script. But it had holes in it. There was no cause and effect. There was like no character. It just, How
did you feel? Were you relieved, or were you like? How did you feel when you saw what it was? Because had it been stunning, would that have been more worrying?
Well, I'm not a writer, so I've got a slightly different perspective. But I do see it more as, if I was to talk about it from a producer's point of view, I see it as a tool that enables me to accelerate some of the more mundane parts of development. So we'll get into that in a sec. But I think if you're a writer, you shouldn't feel any more threatened than designers are by Photoshop, or writers were by Final Draft. With any technological innovation, there's always people, by human nature, we're a bit resistant to change anyway. We've just got comfortable, and now things are changing, and we feel threatened. But I see it as a tool. I see it as, and it certainly enabled us to produce our movie in half the time for less than a third of the budget of a studio movie, but for, I would say, of the, equal quality, if not better. And
she's pitching again.
And then the response to that has been, oh, well, if you're doing it in half the time, that means people are going to be out of work. No, what it means is, instead of doing 1 movie in 4 years, we'll do 2 movies in 4 years, and those people still get to work. We just get to make more movies.
Yes. I think you're right. I think, look, it's useful. It's a useful tool. If you're an intelligent, clever filmmaker, you can use it to your benefit. For analysis, it's brilliant. You've written a script, give me some analysis. Where's a character lacking? It's great for that. If you haven't got time to read a script from someone else, it's really good to get an idea of what this film's about. Or can you give me some examples of other films like my script that have done well that I can put into a deck? That's really important, rather than sourcing this. Which of these films have made money? I know that's very difficult to quantify, but you can at least get a roundabout number. I think it's great for casting talent. You can literally write, I need an actress in this age group. Can you give me, and it finds people who you hadn't thought of. Storyboarding, visualization, if you know how to use the tools properly. Yeah. Box office success. Stephen's been talking about this for a long, long time. The importance of data analysis and how important it is about why, but it also finds images for you, and it's editing. It can do editing for you. I'm not saying use it. I'm saying it can help if you're clever with it. All sorts of the voice stuff it does is ridiculous. So if you need hubbub in the background, you can take that. I can put my voice in and change it slightly so it can match something. It's quite incredible if you want to use
Giles,
it and
the
know
voice
how
of hubbub.
to.
I think if you are listening to this podcast and you have, because I sometimes do guest lecturing at universities and things. I am available.
Pitching again. Good. Yeah. Link is in the show notes.
I'm kidding. Fuck, if you are, let's say, you're just graduating and you're trying to put short film together, or your first independent film together, and you don't have the resources to do storyboards. You don't have the resources to do lookbooks. You don't have the resources to put, some of your planning together. I mean, certainly I can't draw for my brother's a brilliant artist, but I can't draw at all. And I was trying to get over a concept idea that I had, and I was just thinking,
she was doing charades. She was waving her hands around.
But AI enabled me to kind of visualize what I was thinking, for sort of development, that early stage development where you're sort of figuring stuff out, or if you are just coming into the industry and you don't have resources and you're trying to pull a project together, it can be a huge asset if you know what you're doing with it and you have talent.
Yep.
And, a great story.
Totally agree. I think the landscape is changing. Filmmaking 25 and 26, it's vital you understand it. One thing I would like to know, and Stephen, so I'll bring you into this as well, is there does need to be regulations, perhaps. There has to be contractual agreements in place. I do feel that transparency it's a grey area right now. I want to know what your opinion is on this, being a sort of a leading force in this, a leading guidance, if nothing else, on AI and filmmaking and AI in general.
Well, just quickly before that, just as a sort of throwaway comment, but on the voice side of things, like voiceover, like, I mean, I know clients, personally, and they've just got rid of voice actors. Like, they just do everything through AI for, like, they'll pay for all the other stuff of the production, they'll do the filming, and then the voiceover, they'll just get a robot to do. And that's become like quite a worrying precedent. So that's one of the first things that has kind of gone.
Wow.
Well, I mean, so it's affecting so many of the jobs. You're talking about special sound effects. What's really amazing about some of the models they have now is that it will generate those the sound effects it needs. So I don't think any of us thought that Foley would be one of the areas that would be taken over by video generation.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that it's especially targeted, but that would have been on no one's list. I mean, when people were studying AI 10 years ago, no one would have put a therapist at the top of the list of things that a text AI might replace. Yeah. And I'm not saying they're doing these are not to say that these are equivalents. I'm just saying people who would previously take one route have decided themselves in those instances that it's a replacement. I'm doing a project at the moment for a museum, and we needed to do about 1,000 2-minute conversations over a telephone. This is just all audible. That would be just impossible. The museum have no budget to pay people to record and do these 1,000 conversations, and then also having to pay the relicensing because people are using them. Whereas actually, that is an installation that would not have existed. It's not a replacement for a job. And yet there are definitely jobs that are being replaced so quickly, and there are so many of them that it's kind of staggering. And it's going to involve so much change that it's really hard to imagine how different the world is. So I recorded this about a month or so ago, and I think it's coming out in a few weeks, so I think I can talk about it. But I was involved with, there's a new Audible series with Warwick Davis and Richard Ayoade, and I was a guest on it. And one of the things I did was I built a fake Richard Ayoade. It wasn't very hard. I was using off-the-shelf tools, and it was just audio. So I gave it loads of Richard Ayoade's interviews, and I said, what's his personality? And I built a profile, and then it could answer questions. And then I trained it on some audio of him from a different podcast. And I didn't get his permission. The producer knew I was doing this, but it was a surprise to Richard. And it worked really well. I think when you hear the series, you can't tell the difference between real Richard and AI Richard. But the reason I bring it up is that since the recording, because it was for Audible, which are owned by Amazon, they're now asking about permissions. They're asking about paperwork more than permissions. And it's fascinating because people must, maybe other people have gone through this, but maybe and so what we're having to do is, in looking at the law, now, fortunately, the podcast I took the training data from, we know the producers, I don't, but the producers of this show and that show know each other, and so they'll get paperwork. But it's interesting because it's not a commercial use, because it's criticism of, it's commercial for Audible, but it's criticism of the original podcast. If I mentioned, which I did during my interview, I took this from this other podcast, and I think this thought of that other podcast, the training data is fair use. And because I'm generating things with these tools that I'm paying £5-10 a month for, I own the output, the whole thing. It turns out I am the person who owns that. And so I'm the one that has to license it to Amazon, which I'm obviously doing for free. now the things that would be a problem was that obviously Richard Ayoade his agent could say that you're passing off, you're making it look like he endorsed it. That's not a concern here because he's on the show.
For millions.
Yeah, well, only if they could show damages. And unfortunately, the way it works in the UK, I don't think emotional damage counts. They have to show that they lost. If they're using passing off, they have to show that I was trying to represent, it was him and I was losing money. And so actually, although I am going to sign over the rights to this, I actually probably don't need to get, we are going to get permission for the underlying things. We probably don't need to. And it was a really interesting, when we actually worked it all out, there was very little stopping us doing this. Even though that's deeply uncomfortable. Now, the actual use case here is fine because it was on a show. It was only for him. I'm not selling the option to anyone else to do this. But that's going to happen more and more. And during the show, we were talking about Richard and Warwick were saying, is this a danger to my job? And I said, no, because you are Richard Ayoade and because you are Warwick Davis. You have lawyers, you have agents. The real danger is in the next cohort of people who will never get to be Richard Ayoade. And so I think that's the real danger. There are people, Foley artists, that will lose their jobs, and there are actors that are losing jobs. But that's a small transitional period from the old world to whatever this new one is. But the next generation won't come through. And that's probably the bigger shift. And it's really terrifying. So ignore the war. What do you think of the post-apocalyptic reality?
Yes.
It's kind of mind-blowing, actually.
It is. Enfys, have you mentioned there, or you were about to, that you've been involved in this as well, especially with the animation, the voices?
Yeah, so we're using AI and Unreal Engine as part of our pipeline, but that wasn't the interesting bit is the contracts we've got with our talent, and there's new provisions within contracts now which cover off AI and the exploitation of that talent, their voice and their appearance beyond the rights that you're securing for the words that they're speaking and the performance they're doing in the film. So even if I was to do some promotional material to support the film, I wouldn't be permitted to exploit their likeness and their voice using AI. I'd need to bring them back in to record that specifically, and it is in the contracts with my talent, which is a new thing. It's relatively new anyway. To see that wording, and there's quite a few provisions. It's about almost a page actually of provisions around AI and restrictions and permissions around what is and isn't permitted within that contract. And that was something that was interesting to navigate. And it was, there was some discussion around, because it was new. It's like there's no precedent for this. So where we were trying to figure out what was reasonable and what wasn't reasonable, where's the sort of the fairness and, which would put everybody in a comfortable position where the talent weren't feeling exploited and we didn't feel that we were being restricted. So it was a really interesting stage when we were kind of doing the back and forth on those contracts. And I think... Sorry. Please go. No, that was it really. I mean, we got to, I think, which is, to be fair, like none of us were kind of more wiser than the other. We're going, we think this is good. Do you feel good? Yeah, we kind of feel good. Do you feel good? Yeah, this feels okay. So, but it's, it's so new that there really aren't many precedents so far to kind of lean on. Look at.
And it's really showing the difference between acting and being a star, because what you're talking about there is that obviously the people, the talent that you're hiring are good at their jobs as well. They're providing meaningful artistic performances and they're moving people, and that's why you're paying them. But you're also paying for them because they're well known and they'll also open a movie. Tom Cruise being the quintessential star, and maybe we're talking about Gangs of New York, maybe Daniel Day-Lewis being the ultimate sort of actor, where his name probably doesn't open many movies, but his talent is there. AI is going to replace definitely the talent side of things, or can do. Doesn't mean it will do, doesn't mean we'll accept it, but it means that the performances are getting so good and realistic that
Daniel Day AI Lewis.
I'll just let that hang for a bit. And so the talent part of things, and so it'll be whether as Giles was saying, whether it's background noise, whether it's extras, whether it's bit parts, and if you're doing audio or animation, huge amounts of that can be AI generated and be as good, and as an artist you can have more control over it, but that will never change the talent side of things. I'm very down on the idea that there will be AI stars, because I don't think that speaks to what we want. And so funnily enough, it will be this 2-track thing where anyone who is famous will stay famous and will have the power to be able to write those in contracts and sue people, and also people want to see them. But will we have another generation the same way that there are no new action stars really compared to the pipeline we used to have? The ones we have now are the ones from the 1980s. Yeah. You know, in 10 years, will we have a similar sort of stasis of fame where we're still getting Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling and all the other Ryans, but we're not getting new people because all those new roles, that pipeline that used to happen, is being replaced by people who don't have the power to say, you can't use my voice in that way. And that's where the unions need to step in and protect that. But you'll have people completely outside of the structures doing it.
Ryans from extinction.
Yeah. There is a project I'm kind of tinkering with at the moment, which steps into that area, and it's early days at the moment, but it is a very interesting. It's quite high concept, but it does tap into all of that. And again, because it's so new, we're kind of like trying to sort of find our way with what we can and can't do,
and what you feel comfortable with as well, because like you've hit that point when we were doing this thing, planning this thing for the museum. We were thinking about how do we feel as creatives, and we're not thinking about individual voiceover artists that we know, like our friend who'll get fired or not hired, but just thinking about how do we feel about this. And because the project ended up being like 1,000 conversations, we were like, okay, well, actually, to be honest, we've got a bit of a pass because that is not possible. Like it was 10 times the budget for the museum, and the museum don't have a way of raising more money for it. Cool. But had it been marginal, it really raises questions that you think about when you go to sleep. It's different about what you can do. It's what you feel you should do.
Yeah.
Yes.
It definitely, the moral question as well, isn't it?
But I think what will happen is there'll be a big case. Something will happen. Someone will use someone's voice where they shouldn't or whatever. There'll be a big suing case. It will go to court. It'll become massive. And then there'll be a precedent. They'll go, right, let's put rules in place. And obviously those rules will be bent and moved around a little bit till it evens out. But right now, it's kind of anyone.
If you want to speed that case up, I can give you Rachel Iowati to be the next week's guest.
John, do you fancy being our fall guy just to...
Yeah, John can set this up.
I think Giles was nominating himself.
I will interview Richard Iowati
versus
AI.
The state of New York. Let's do that one.
Next week, let's do it. Yeah. Well, listen, look, this has been amazing. I've really enjoyed this chat. This has really got to the bones of quite a lot of stuff, but also we've touched the surface as well, which I find wonderful, and that's sometimes the best way it can be. It leaves you, our lovely audience, asking questions and saying, hey, what can we do? And do reach out, ask us questions. This is what it's about. Go to Stephen's website. He's got so much information and knowledge on there. It is fantastic. Do that. Right, Stephen, because the scores are pretty tight at the moment with this quiz, and we got one final question to get us to the end, which will, if Dom gets it right, he is redeemed, totally bottom. If Enfys gets it right, she's equal with me, and if I get it right, I win outright. So,
okay. Now I'm just going to. The most recent article I published was about the sources of movies. So this doesn't relate to anything we've talked about.
But we can all read it.
Well, you have to see whether you've remembered it.
There is that. Yes.
So you've now doubled or nothing on this one.
This is an inside job.
I have, yeah. Anyway.
What percentage of films over the last 25 years, all films and cinemas, were original screenplays? I don't mean original ideas in a loose sense. I mean were not literally adaptations of existing IP. Or of a real event.
I actually read this. I read this.
I read this too.
Well, I don't know.
No cheating. You can't go and lick it.
I'm going to be the least advantaged on this one.
Well, you're the least advantaged.
All right, Dom, if you get this right, you get 2 points.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That is fair enough.
Okay, I reckon absolutely no difference, but like, sure.
I'm going to go with 20,
I know. Do you know what? I read
22%.
22% Dom goes with original. They're in cinemas. Original. Oof. I reckon it's to be honest, if you look at the box office, even the last couple of the amount of sequels in there, and I think you even talked about this something else, Stephen, and it was just like I think it was top 10 were all sequels, reboots, or whatever, remakes.
And there's no doubt that the money skews differently to the production, and we're talking about production.
Yeah. I'm going. Enfys, do you want to go first? Because I love going last. It's way more fun.
If I recall, it's something like 8 out of the top 10 releases of last year were remakes or franchises.
True, but what we're talking about though is the source of the script, which is similar and adjacent, but not quite the same thing.
Can we make it that? Because
can we clarify?
Well, do you want to tell me what the answer is as well, then, and then you can get the point.
I get used to like seeing who can
Yeah, you've got a question. You've got to worm your way in, Dom. Thing is, you went early. Now,
See, this is a producer.
I'm giving my answer, and it's the moral high ground answer.
Are you not going to change it again and blame everyone else?
22%. I'm sticking with it.
22% are original, so non-franchise.
Yeah, not based on on real events, not based on written materials or previous movies or stage or the TV.
Yeah,
It's
and probably
by the way, just
but I'm going to go 22. Yeah.
As an aside note, we often think of original as a good thing. When we say something's unoriginal, we mean a bad thing. But we have to remember that Avatar, the first one, was an original screenplay, but it's basically Ferngully. And some of the best films are adaptations from existing books, or The Dark Knight is a sequel to a reboot to a comic book adaptation. So sometimes the lineage can be really long, but the work can still be great. And other times it can be an original screenplay and still...
but if we look at the Oscar winners
out your
this
answers.
Year, but if we look at the Oscar winners this year and the Oscar nominee, I mean, the amount that were original is ridiculous and wonderful, right? It was just full of them. So I think it's about half. I'm gonna jump in feet first and go 60%.
I was going to go for 60. Okay, I'll go.
Well, then you have to go for 59.9 or 60.1.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for 54%.
What original?
Wow. So I'm top, like is in the most amount with 60. Enfys on 54, and Dom way down on 24. So Dom's going to struggle here to get a point. So I personally go on.
It's about 56%.
Damn it!
Yay!
So Enfys gets the point. She emphasised her point. So that means me and Enfys win the quiz, so we get to share this wonderful.
I'll put it away.
So I'm going to send this to you after I finish with it.
Right, great.
That's not the right terminology.
It's a beacon of inspiration. There you go.
Great.
So.
Do you know what? That is something to look forward to. Thank you so much, Giles.
Absolute pleasure. It's probably, I mean, that's got to go somewhere special.
Enfys, I've got a genuine question.
It's a plasticine gold star.
What do you mean?
I've got a genuine question for you.
A genuine one, as opposed to all the others.
Oh yeah, because how do you receive post on a boat? Don't you keep moving?
No, I'm in a marina.
She's on the run from the law. That's why.
I'm in a private marina in Chiswick.
But does it not move ever? Is it one of these boats that is just moored?
I can take it out. I was actually going to just show you a picture, but
no, do it now. Do it live.
Do it live. Okay, hold on. Let me just find.
So how often do you go out for a little jolly?
It's a drug smuggling boat.
I should actually go out more often, but
do you have to legally with the people who? Like,
what you're thinking about are boats that are on the canals. I'm too big to go on the canals. I'm let me just try and find it.
It's kind of a big deal, guys.
Could you go to Cannes and like?
Yeah, I wouldn't because she's old. She's like, hold on, let me do it a minute.
Wait, we've got to see that.
Oh wow!
Oh wow! Okay.
That's a proper yacht boat thing.
Yeah, she's a 44 foot.
And it's those trips to international waters that funded her film.
And it's. Do you live on your own? Is it yours? Have you got a captain? Have you got a seaman?
Don't send all these don't compromise her.
No, you don't have to tell me. You can just nod or shake your head, and I won't tell the podcast listeners.
I am Captain Enfys Dickinson. Yeah.
Right. If anyone wants a meeting, right, you're just gonna find Enfys's boat. She lives in Chiswick.
Yeah. On the water.
She's available 9 to 5 weekdays.
If you've got an AI animation,
you can go in. You can ask her anything, any time of the day.
Iowade, you're in.
Yeah, we have a very robust harbour master who's very hot on security. So
good to know. And
she's nodding nervously.
Many a delivery man who's not made it to my boat because he's been intercepted by the.
He had to walk the plank.
Does the boat rock? That's not.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, let's not get
into that. Back to Saturday nights again, aren't we?
You're loving it. Yeah. Well, we'll all come round for a party because that sounds way more fun than Dom's house.
You know what? People never invite themselves round to your house, but because I've got a boat, people automatically go, "Oh, I'll just come round."
Yeah, but you can also be away when they come.
That's true.
Most people they just be out. You can move the whole house.
You can literally go, "Oh, I wasn't in."
I could just wave as I'm leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, do it.
Well, actually, you could just move 4 foot out, like just whatever I can't jump.
Yeah, take the plank away.
That wouldn't be enough for Tom Cruise. He'd be able to do that 4 foot. You know?
Well, he's allowed it.
Tom Cruise came to visit.
I was about to say, I think he's allowed to visit.
That would be fine. As long as he doesn't overstay his welcome, he can do that. Listen, thank you so much, everyone. This has been really fun, really enjoyable. We're going to do more business of films. I really enjoy them, so we're going to do them more regularly coming up for you. Hope you had an amazing Cannes if you were there. I hope you learned something from this. I hope you've taken away what to do for next year, which is get your stuff in early. We didn't mention flights as well, but book your flights early as well as your accommodation. Did you? Well done. And your accreditation. Do that and get your meetings in very early. AI, that's so interesting. And obviously what's happening moving forward with the Trump's tariffs. We'll keep you updated. For now, though, if you're lucky enough. No, wait, I'll do the goodbyes first. Dom Lenoir, thank you.
Thanks, Giles.
Stephen Follows, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Enfys Dickinson, thank you so much. Your virginity is popped. Well done.
Thanks for taking my cherry. It was delightful and painless.
It was a beautiful, beautiful moment for this podcast, and we have loved it. So thank you. You've been a great guest. Really enjoyable.
Thanks,
you guys are great.
And Stephen.
Great stuff. Great.
Thank you so much.
Well done, everybody.
If you're lucky enough to rise up and do well and get your boat out there and walk the plank or get your animation into a room in Cannes and get people there, if you are able to get your AI facts and make a film and anything like that and rise up, it is your duty to
send the boat back to international waters before it sinks.
Not pull the ladder up behind you.
Not pull the ladder. You've got to let the ladder down behind you for others to climb up. But in your case, probably best not to, because Tom Cruise is there and he just gets in the way. Yeah. You know what he's like.
And don't throw bits of shark bait when you're
you need to work on your jokes. You know what? I was actually. Do you know what? we were talking about.
I was very funny consistently in Cannes. Lots of laughter.
Listen, I love you, Dom, but listen, right? So I was in, I was saying like the Petit Majestic is where you should meet people, right?
Yeah, it's a good place.
I managed to avoid Dom for an entire year, and I went to the Petit Majestic, and he was the first guy I saw.
Oh, there we go.
That's how easy it is to meet people.
And then how much wonderful time was spent after that?
Dom's not being petty about this at all.
No.
Thanks,
I love you, Dom. Dom, you're all right.
You're all right, Dom. You are all right. I love that he's like, no, I am funny. Right. I am funny.
I'm not gonna. I know who I'll be going to be avoiding next, Can.
Yes, there we go. Listen, thank you all so much for listening. Join us next Tuesday. We've got amazing guests coming up. It's brilliant.
Richard Ayoade, I think.
Yeah, I think he's here. We've got him, annoyingly, but he's great. So, we'll just AI him out or something.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Pleasure.
Thanks, everyone.
See you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.